Hello, and welcome back. I thought it might be kind of fun today, instead of the usual meditation, to get out some tarot cards and play around a little bit. Now, to be completely honest, I don't really know a whole lot about reading tarot cards. And since I don't have a live subject in front of me, the energies will really only manifest for myself. So that's not really much good to anybody else, is it? But I got the stack. Very fancy. I love the artwork on it. Oh. That's a great choice for my first one, isn't it? Always a good sign. Which means I probably am just holding it upside down. Which is its own interpretation, of course, according to some people. But no, death in tarot usually signifies an ending, a new beginning, some type of transformation. It's not actually inherently a bad card or a scary card to pull. It's just funny that for my first semi-live, since you can see my hands but not my face, that's the card that I pull because I'm actually transitioning to a different type of content. Maybe there is something to it after all. The other thing about these cards is how big they are. This is, and I have decently long fingers for a woman. I mean, they're not small hands by any means. I mean, this is a backflow incense burner. My hand is as big as, if not bigger. But these cards are hard to hold on to. It takes a pretty hefty grip. So the other thing I've run into in practicing with these, getting warmed up with these, is that shuffling has been a bit of a challenge. I am trying to get them more used to being in my hands. I did have them out in a window under the moon with my best clear quartz on top of them. So they have been cleansed. There's no other influences going on with these cards. Oh, some of them are upside down, some of them aren't. And like I said, that all means something in its own way. So I'm not worried about anything like that. Other influences, that didn't even do anything from anybody else that might have interfered with them before. Oh, I found a better setting on my camera to film this in a slightly different aspect ratio, so that's much nicer. Also, I know it's kind of hard to see, but I love that little backflow burner over here is actually working, which is quite fun. Something I didn't realize, though, is even when it is flowing down through the edges here, it still is coming off the top as well, so it's actually burning from both places at once, which is very curious to me. I thought for sure once it started it would not flow from the top, it would only flow from the bottom, but it's doing both and actually burns much slower than other incense cones I've used before. So that's curious. I like that. Doesn't have a whole lot to do with tarot. I'm just kind of setting the mood because I am very much a mood person. Gotta get the timing, the circumstances, you know, light some candles, wait for it to be dark outside. That always just feels to me like a better time for anything like this. Tarot cards. Let's see what we can get into. Cut the cards a couple times, give them a blended shuffle in that way. Some variance, some variety. Always stop when it feels right. There's no one way to shuffle. There's no one way to read. There's no one way to go about any of this. It's just whatever speaks to you. Let's see how my fan ability does. My fanning could use some work. A whole lot of clustering going on over here. That's not so good. And now my cats are being extremely playful because there's a large cardboard box downstairs that they are very happy about and they want to assault it. Of course. That's what happens when you live with cats though, right? Cardboard box, what mysteries do you hold? I really like this. This was a really good purchase. Anyway, so instead of the usual 3-card pull, past, present, and future, one that you can do, that is still a 3-card pull, it's very simple, is the mind, heart, and spirit pull. And you can interpret that whatever way you need to. You can ask a singular question and then pull the 3 cards to tell you what each of those 3 would recommend for you to do about said situation. See where some discordance or disagreement lies in your personality. Without having a specific question in mind, you can pull it just for an overall sense of self to see where maybe you aren't aligned in your thinking day to day. You know, the mind wants different than what the heart wants, different than what the spirit is picking up on or reading. Different levels to it. I don't have any specific questions right now, and I want to pull this as openly as possible because I don't really want to pull for me. I want to pull for the energy that I feel coming toward me right now. So anyone out there that might be thinking of me, or just someone I know that needs to hear a message from me right now, let me sink into the energies and see what I feel. When we're ready, only when we're ready, we're going to go ahead and pull our cards. My left hand feels very heavy right now. Okay. And I do apologize, my desk has very limited space, so I need to pull these down a little bit, clean them up so I have some room to read. Nope, I just bunched the fabric real bad, didn't I? I did. Oh no. My pretty little cloth is now wrinkled. That's okay though. So I'll set this pile off to the side here. And we'll see. Whoa. It does not want to be done yet. It wants to keep going. Either there's multiple people that need my help, or it wants a deeper reading than just a 3-card. It probably has a lot to tell me because even though I've had this one sitting and purifying for a while, I've never actually read from it. So it's probably got a lot it wants to say. But we're going to go ahead and start with these: mind, heart, Spirit. And I do have the handy little tarot book over here for when it's time to interpret, because I definitely don't have any of the meanings memorized. I know some people say go with what you feel you're learning from the cards. I think the suits, there's an interpretation guide, like cups is water, wands are fire, pentacles are earth, and swords are air, but I could be messing those up. So I wouldn't even go 100% with that one, folks. The only one I know for sure is cups are water, and I think pentacles are earth. The other two, I always mess up. But we're going to start with mind. That is the Four of Wands. You can see here 1, 2, 3, 4. Roman numeral 4 on the top here. I like the art style of this one. It's very much got an ancient Greek Roman vibe with the clothing choices and such of the figures. And you can tell this one is wands because it's just straight up and down, almost like poles, maypoles, celebration poles. So we've got the Four of Wands, an upside down Queen of Cups. Put it closer so you can see that does say Queen of Cups. Sorry, I thought the lighting would be adequate, but it is a little shadowy. But the Queen of Cups, you can see her there, but she did present upside down, so that's very curious. So we're going to put her back upside down. Lastly, I have the Queen of Wands for my spirit. So that's interesting. I got a queen twice. I have wands twice. Oh, kitty cat. Interesting, interesting, interesting. That may mean that my mind and spirit are aligned, but my heart is not. But since it's an upside down queen, that could mean several things. So we'll start here. And this is a little booklet that came with the card deck. At the front, it does have a brief history of cards, the original tarot decks by Dr. Arthur Edward Waite. First published in 1910, The Key to the Tarot. This was after years of study on his part. That was an English author that first translated it and came up with the Rider-Waite Tarot deck. This is the 78 card edition, which is part of why it's so bulky and so hard for me to shuffle, because my hands do not want to bend that far, I guess. So this is the Greater Arcana, which is going to be the named cards, the ones that everyone always talks about: the Magician, the High Priestess, the Empress, the Emperor. You've got the Lovers, Strength, Temperance, Death, the Moon, the Wheel of Fortune. All of those are going to be in the higher Arcana. Those are the ones you see in art. Actually, my phone case is a really pretty version of the star, which I love. Okay, Lesser Arcana, the suits. And it starts with wands. So the first one we're going to find is the Queen of Wands. Throughout this suit, the wands are always in leaf, as it is a suit of life and animation, emotionally and otherwise. The Queen's personality corresponds to that of the King, but is more magnetic. Divinatory meanings: a dark woman or a country woman, friendly, chaste, loving, honorable. If the card beside her signifies a man, she is well disposed toward him. If a woman, she is interested in the querent. Querent is the one asking the questions. Also, love of money. So that's curious for that one. It's great that it means life and animation. Let's see, in this page we should find the Four of Wands next. Now that was our spirit card again, being over here, the Queen of Wands. Four of Wands. From the four great staves planted in the foreground, there is a great garland suspended. Two female figures uplift nosegays, and at their side is a bridge over a moat leading to an old manorial house. Very simple, beautiful description of the artwork. Divinatory meanings: They are for once almost on the surface. Country life, repose, conceited, harmony, prosperity, peace, and the perfected work of those. So, the mind that this is for desires peace, country life, simple living. I think a lot of us want that these days. And then the spirit corresponding, or the queen corresponding in the spirit position. Queen of Cups. Cups is the next section in the book. Queen of Cups. Beautiful, fair, dreamy woman, as one who sees visions in a cup. Divination professor comes to mind. Divinatory meanings. This is going to be the interesting part. Good, fair woman, honest, devoted, who will do service to the querent, loving intelligence, and hence the gift of vision, success, happiness, pleasure, also wisdom and virtue. Now when reversed, which we do have here, she presented upside down. The accounts vary. Ooh, good woman otherwise. Distinguished woman, but not to be trusted. A perverse woman. Vice, dishonor, depravity. That was very interesting. And then this one said, if it's in connection with another woman card, it has an alternate meaning. So let's go back to that page for the Queen of Wands. If the card beside her signifies a man, she is well disposed toward him. If a woman, she is interested in the querent. So that only tells us that she would be more interested in the questioner than the meaning of the additional card. So this tells me, now that we've read all of that, the person whose energy I'm feeling who most needs this to be answered, their mind wants a peaceful life. Something simple, beautiful, reserved, plain to see. You know, the mind wants what the mind wants. There's been a big push toward that socially with cottagecore aesthetic, everything else going on. The Queen of Cups, reversed, tells me that their heart is seeking something that isn't necessarily good for them. It may be that their attachment to a specific person or the idea of a specific person or type of person is not healthy for them. I know at least one person going through something very similar to that right now, so that's striking. To me at least. Because the wrong life partner, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a woman, it could be a man, it could be a non-binary individual, the wrong life partner can disrupt this peace and happiness that your mind wants. But they say the heart wants what it wants, and that can even be someone that's toxic for you. Unless the mind and the spirit convince you otherwise, to let go of that toxic individual. And sometimes there's no helping yourself. We fall for the people we fall for, often because we see something in them that we feel like we are lacking in our lives. Or subconsciously, it's representative of something that has not been in our lives for a while. And unfortunately, that can lead to the wrong person becoming very entrenched in your life. And it may not even seem like they're the wrong person at first. That's why some relationships take years to fall apart, because they might not seem wrong at first. But once you get down to the brass tacks and actually experience more with them, some things just don't fit after a while. The third one, the Queen of Wands, is a supportive matriarch figure. If you have one of those in your life, always listen to them. Even if it's not fun. Most of us know what we're talking about. So she's reflecting on this one over here. And her interest, since this is not centered on a male figure, is in the querent, wanting to impart goodness. So I would say the Queen of Wands is spirit, almost reacting defensively to the reversed Queen of Cups, saying, yes, your heart wants this, but I want you to know you don't need this. But of course, you could ask 10 different tarot readers and you would get 10 different interpretations of what that could mean. I'm working off a tiny booklet. And of course, you know, we all have those life experiences. I already said that does remind me a little bit of a close friend. He's going through a couple things right now in the love department. So that could be coloring my interpretation of what these cards mean, as much as I don't want it to be specifically gravitating toward any one person. You know, we can't control that. We pull the energies and we interpret the energies with tools like these as we need to. And all we can do is try to read it and figure out what it means. But that, I think, is going to be that for today. Just the one reading. Let me know in the comments down below if you thought this was fun. I can always bust out the cards, do another reading again soon. If you send me a message or leave me a comment, or I will post my Instagram handle below, you can message me on there. I can do a reading for you for my next video. If you're interested, have a little bit of fun with it. Or if you have any ideas for anything else I could do for my next video, I am more than happy to toss some ideas around. My next one actually is, I'm thinking about doing a crafting video with a couple things I have around my house that I'm working on for decor, which promises to be very cute and delightful, and we can have a little story time and talk about some movies and stuff. But thanks so much for tuning in. I'll see you all later. Have a wonderful day.